So I've got my flour in the bowl, and what we're going to need to add to that is a pinch of salt and our water, and we get that mixing slowly at first and then full speed until it comes away from the edges. Right, as you can see, that's a sticky dough and it's come away from the edges, so we need to get it off of this. So getting out your sticky dough, you need to just get a good bit of flour on your work surface. Get your dough out. Sprinkle a bit more flour on the top. Now we're going to give that a slight shaping, because you want it to be sort of in the shape that you're going to roll it out, which is squarish rectangular. A squarish rectangular. Oh, that's one new one to learn for the kids. So we're going to let that rest for about 10 or 15 minutes. So now that we've rested it for 15 minutes, it's exactly the same. Anyway, what you need to do is get your surface really well floured. It's going to get a bit messy, but hey, who doesn't like a bit of mess? So get some flour, don't be afraid. Now we're going to want to roll this, and again, remember I said it's quite sticky. So we're going to want to roll this out 16-20 inches sort of squared, and you might have to keep on adding a bit of flour so that it doesn't stick. So when we rolled it out, we're going to need to use our butter, room temperature butter I would say, but if you live in a really cold house, your butter's going to be cold. So what I'm going to say is soft, pliable butter that's easy to apply to this pastry. Now, we want to dollop our butter all over, because we're going to spread it evenly. Now, spread it all over. So what I should have said before you start buttering is just make sure that there's no excess flour all over it. You want sort of all the flour not on your pastry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold this over into the middle, and we're going to fold this one over. As we said, it gets a bit sticky. There we go. Then we're going to re-flour the surface, turn it over, and do the whole thing over again. The process is called laminating, where you put butter over your pastry, fold it over, butter, a bit like how they make a croissant, where they keep making puff pastries. The same example. They laminate the pastry, lots of butter in layers. So again, roll it out into your 16 to 20 inch square and repeat the process. Now you want to repeat the process and fold it over one more time. Roll it out again. So now we've got to this stage, what we're going to do is roll it up. So what we do is we get the edge here and roll it up, and we're going to roll it into a long sausage, keeping it as tight as possible and turning it over. Just scraping the bits off if they're stuck to the surface like that. And we just roll it, keep rolling it up to the end to a nice sausage shape. There we have it. So now we've got our pastry rolled up. What we're going to do is cut it in half, cling film them, and then let them rest in the fridge for at least 2 hours, if not overnight. But I get impatient, so I'm going to say 2 hours because these are delicious. So now we're going to make the custard for the Portuguese tarts. We've got the flour in the bowl, and we're just going to add, we've got 300 grams of milk here, and we're just going to add about 80 milliliters of milk, and we'll give that a whisk. So now we've given our flour and milk a good mix, we'll just set that to one side. In another pan, you're going to need to put your water, your caster sugar. Normally I'd use a vanilla stick in here, but I don't have one in lockdown, so we're going to use... So now we've got the sugar and the water and the cinnamon in there. We'll get that on a heat. We want to get that to 100 degrees boiling. In another pan, the rest of your milk goes in. I'm also going to put a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now we want to take the milk just up to just before boiling, and then we're going to take it off the heat. Now that's reached 100, we're just going to take that off the heat to let it sit to one side for a minute. Right, the milk's just reaching boiling point, so we're going to take that off. We're now going to add it to our flour and milk mix we mixed earlier. Just give that a good mix. Now we've got the warm milk in there. I'm just going to add the sugar, cinnamon and water mix really slowly. Just be careful because it's hot, so you don't want it to splash all over you. Just keep whisking that in. You want to keep whisking it until it's cool. Now what you want to do is add 6 egg yolks into your mix and really whisk those in. So when that's all thoroughly mixed in, we're going to pass it through a sieve into another bowl just to get rid of the cinnamon bits and any residual eggy lumps that are left in there. Now we've done that, we're just going to set it to one side. Now we've got our pastry here out of the fridge. I took it out a while ago just to get it up to a room temperature. Now what you're going to want to do is cut it in half, and then we're going to get 12 pieces out of this. You can see where we've rolled it up. You can really see in the pastry there. So we've just lightly greased our tray with the old grease spray. I've got myself a little bowl of warm water, and you're going to see why as we plop our pastry into the cases here. What you want to do is wet your thumb and then push down in the middle of your pastry, and you're going to work, I'll use both really, you're going to work the pastry out around and slide it up. You make sure you don't leave it too thin on the bottom, but you want to just keep bringing your pastry up until it spills over the top. Now as this cooks, the filling's going to rise up a bit, so we'll fill it 2/3 full, but just want a bit of excess pastry over the top there. And just do the same with all the others. Well, what I should have said is, while you're doing this, get your oven preheated as hot as it goes. As hot as it goes. So now the oven's on the highest setting, 290 and degrees C, and we're going to just film. We're just going to film these tart. We're just going to fill these tart cases with the mixture we've made, and you only want to fill them 3/4 full, because as I said earlier, the custard will rise up as you cook, and you don't want it seeping over the top. Now the rest of your filling you can use, because don't forget you've still got another half a log of pastry in the fridge, and the filling will keep for a week or so in the fridge with it, so you can bake some more.